All right, Taebyn. Well, it's been a fun last week. It's been a fun week this week. Are you ready for our podcast this week?
I think I am. I'm really excited. I wag so much. I've been looking forward to this. I can't wait to do this. I hope nothing bad happens.
I know we've got so much to get on to today. We've got so many good things happening. Things that people and furs will be shocked to hear that we have found out this last week.
This
you cannot
is actually
believe
pretty amazing.
It's amazing stuff. So we're just going to jump right in, and we're going to get to it right away with no premise whatsoever.
Yeah, nope. This is very exciting. So for all you furs out there, this is the episode to listen to, because
this is the episode. If you hit no other episode, listen to this one. This is the one you have to listen to.
Because Bearly and I know, in fact, no fur else knows this stuff. Only Bearly and I actually know this right now. We're going to impart this knowledge with you. So let's start right in. Bearly, let us know this first amazing thing that happened.
All right. This is Barely Furcasting, featuring Taebyn, an Injured Nerves audio production.
Sound is all around us, everywhere. It beats at our eardrums until much of the time we're hardly conscious of it. But on this particular Saturday morning, Jimmy Foster suddenly became very conscious of it.
That's it. I think we've just about got it, Lux. I'm going to stabilize the carrier wave. You see if you can boost the signal a little more.
Yeah, sure. By the way, Rayne, what did we just do?
Through the magic of steampunk technology and furry know-how, we've successfully just hijacked the podcast.
Oh my God. How do you do that with a pre-recorded podcast?
Well, yeah, that's why it took me so long to figure this out, but we've done it.
Oh man, dude, Bearly's gonna be so skeeved.
No, that's the beauty of the plan. They don't even know we did it. They're still recording the show. They have absolutely no idea we've got control of the podcast.
It does vibrate.
Hello, every fur in the podcast universe. Welcome to Barely Furcasting Pirate Edition. I'm Rayne Raccoon, your captain on this podcast journey. And with me is my co-host who glows the most, Lux Operon.
Hey, guess what? This is our podcast now. Get used to it.
We're broadcasting from my airship, the RAF Bliskner. Welcome aboard, Lux. I understand that you're an old hand at steampunk airships.
Yeah, I spent a good 3 years aboard the SSSSSSSS. We only had an S stencil. But yeah, well, tell me a little bit more about the name of your airship, the Blitzkrieg.
I'd like to, but that's a Mighty Thor subject.
Oh.
Lux, what do you say we get the show started before we burn out the transmitter? I'm not sure how long it's going to last under this strain.
Yeah, I'll keep switching out fresh hamsters to keep the wheels spinning. And we'll start the show. Once we run out of hamsters, the show will stop.
So, Lux, it's time for media. What media have you been watching or reading or listening to this week?
Oh gosh, well, I am a huge podcast nerd, like the world's biggest podcast nerd, because I do a lot of visual stuff, and I'm always listening to podcasts while I'm working.
You don't say.
Yeah, right. There's two podcasts I want to give a shout out to. One is currently, it's got I think 3 seasons in the can, and one they're actually in their final season. So the first one is called Everything Is Alive, and it was the original kind of inspiration for the Transformation Station. Ian Chillog, I forget what podcast he's on originally, but Ian Chillog interviews inanimate objects, and they're basically just guest hosts, and they talk about their experiences as inanimate objects. And it's a little less slapsticky and crazy in comparison to the Transformation Station. A little less Prairie Home Companion, a little more other NPR stuff.
Ah, okay.
But I mean, you'd speak to Russian nesting dolls, you'd speak to a pair of blue jeans. He spoke to a can of soda, and they drink the can of soda, and it might have died.
Oh my gosh!
It's comedic in a way, but it's also very profound. So if you're looking for something to really tickle your brain meat, Everything Is Alive is great.
Nice.
And for something a little more in the vein of Transformation Station is absolutely Mission to Zix. I can't believe I slept on this podcast for this long. It started out as their own thing. They're now on the Maximum Fun Network, and it's improv comedy, which I love improv comedy, and it's basically basically Futurama, kind of, sorta, and celebrity guests come on, and they're a diplomatic relations team, quote unquote, or whatever, and they go to planets, which is just improv situations by these different guest comedians, and then some stuff happens and some doesn't, and there's all these in-jokes about, like, Star Wars ripoffs, and like the second season has a character named Beano, and Beano is very, like, it's hard to explain without, like, getting into all the in-jokes, but there's a lot of lore. It's really, really fun. The chemistry is great between all the actors, and they're now in their final season, so there's a great big beefy backlog if you love chewing through something. So if you got, I don't know, maybe if there's a second shutdown impending because some people didn't get their vaccine, you have plenty of time to sit back and listen to, a good, gosh, I would say there's easily probably 80 hours worth of content backlogged on it. So definitely worth a listen. I love Mission to
fun.
Six. Mm-hmm. What have you been watching, consuming, listening to, right?
Let's see. I watched the Mitchells versus the Machines, which is a very cute kind of family cartoon.
Okay.
And, as a pug owner myself, the fact that they had a pug in the show was basically all it took to get me to watch it. And this family is just like, they're a real family. I mean, they're not the perfect family. They're the they're the real family with real problems and real tension going on in the family.
Sure.
And yeah, it's really well done. It's not like the typical, oh, we're the perfect family, we're gonna save the world. This is your family, my family ends up saving the world through a complete comedy of errors, and it's really fantastic. It's on Netflix, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I think it's really worth a watch.
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
Let's see, and now I'm on the 8th book in the Windmaster's Bane series, which is Landslayer's Law.
Okay.
And it's kind of the whole series follows this kid named David Sullivan through like his later high school through college years, and it combines Irish mythology and Cherokee mythology.
Really?
Yeah.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, lots of magic, shape-shifting into animals. So it's a really cool series. I mean, the author Tom Dietz sadly passed away a few years ago, but I read these books when I was a kid, and I just kind of really wanted to pick them up again and start reading them again.
Absolutely. And so it has the series, I imagine the series is concluded then, or is it being ghostwritten to complete it?
No. Fortunately, he concluded the whole series before he passed.
Gotcha. So we're not looking at a Game of Thrones situation.
No, we're not looking at like something where, we're never gonna find out what happened.
Right. Yeah, now that I was gonna say that last season on the HBO is probably as good as we're gonna get on that. So
yeah, more than likely.
Very cool.
Okay, great. So hey, what do you say we move on to furries in the news?
I say that's the best idea you've had all day.
Oh, great. Australia apparently commissioned a furry artist to do the 2021 Olympic mascots for Australia.
God bless.
Oh my gosh. They are adorable.
Yeah.
If you haven't taken a look at them, you got to. And it's funny because the commission, just initially called out for artists to update their kangaroo, their boxing kangaroo, I guess. And they ended up with a furry artist, and they were very kind of concerned that they were going to get caught out about the whole thing.
Yeah. Do we know who the artist is who made that art?
Yeah. Hold on, let me look at that real quick again.
Because I've always said it, like furry is an artistic movement. There's immense talent in our fandom,
I think we have more talented artists in the furry fandom than just about anywhere.
Absolutely.
The artist is Sailor Failures on Twitter.
Sailor Failures on Twitter. Oh,
yes.
Very cool. I hope they made a grip of cash on it, man.
I think they did make a good bunch of cash on it.
Merchandising and all that jazz.
It was, the Australian Mint, actually, I guess, was involved in this. Yes. So.
Wow. What kind of merchandise can we get with those characters on there?
So they've got like sticker books, and also I think there's going to be some commemorative coins.
Ooh, are they going to be plushies?
Unfortunately, it does not look like it. I hope they're going to do a comic book too, apparently.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's really kind of cool that furry artists are getting some mainstream representation. And
absolutely. I mean, what's so wonderful too about the furry fandom is that people like this artist can kind of survive in furry and develop their talent, develop their style, develop their skill, and then eventually an opportunity like this will fall into your lap. And it's no coincidence. Australians really love their native ecology. They're fiercely proud of their kangaroos and their echidnas and their all kinds of critters that are down there. So I think that it really meshed together nicely, that you've got someone with, really good, like, furry art chops, as well as aligning with their passion for their native animals, which, again, you'd be hard pressed to find. Like, I don't think we care that much about, like, turkey and deer here in America than they care about the kangaroo,
No, they Australia is definitely kind of very Texan about their critters. They're very proud of them, and just about everything there can kill you. So you
right, yeah, you kind of have to respect nature.
You have to respect it if it can kill you. Yes.
I mean, that might have been one of my favorite episodes of Bluey, because that comes from Australia. They go out to the creek, and Dad's kind of joking about, you gotta watch out for snipes, watch out for whatever. He's like, oh no, but seriously, watch out for spiders. Like, yeah, it's Australia. Oh, me, oh my, absolutely.
Let's see, what else have we got? Megaplex is also going on this weekend in Florida.
Yeah, heck of a weekend for a furry convention to be going on. It is tough. I think the last time that I guest hosted on this podcast, I was like, if you feel safe, get out and gather with people. But like now it's like, we might be pumping the brakes on that a little bit.
Yeah.
I do wish everyone who's at Megaplex, well, this is coming out way after Megaplex, but I'm wishing you now and putting positive intention in the universe that you'll all be safe and have a great time. And I very much hope that some events can occur sort of in the future. I'll stress to any listeners right now, if you are thinking, if conventions are somehow happening in your area by the time this comes out, or fur meets or whatever, I am going to implore you, please go out and get your vaccine. And remember that you are not fully vaccinated against the coronavirus until 2 weeks after your second dose for the 2-shotters. And then for the Johnson & Johnson, I don't know the incubation period.
I believe it's 2 weeks as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So just be as safe as you can. Absolutely, keep masking up. And but at the same time, stay close to your friends, check up on people, because again, it's kind of a rough time. But I'm really enjoying being part of this community. Again, as we're kind of staring this in the face, I was at the grocery store the other day, and there was like no toilet paper in the toilet paper aisle. I'm like, here we go again on my own. Like it was kind of traumatic, but. Hopefully this time around, if the pendulum swings one way, it won't be as severe as it was back in January. And I am positive that we're going to get through this. And I know the listeners of the Bearly Furcast are responsible, good people. So if you need an excuse, this is Lux Operon firing up the Hypno Ray. Go get your vaccine. Woo! So that was my contribution to that.
You being a vendor, you also know that conventions, it's a quagmire of legal stuff they have to go through, and
absolutely.
Contracts. Sometimes when contracts are canceled and stuff like this, it can be the end of a convention. So I gotta feel sorry for the conventions too, because they have sometimes no choice but to go ahead and put the convention on, even if they don't really want to, because they feel it might not be 100% safe.
Yeah, I mean it's a question of like producer perish at this point. There are some hotels, and in Florida, the climate definitely is.
Oh yes.
Pretty aggressively. We need to reopen everything. We need to whatever, because the governor, I believe, made some statements that I won't get into politics here, but they seem to be factually inaccurate about where all the new cases in Florida are coming from. And it's tough because the hotels are all part of that political soup, if you will. I'm fortunate here in Nevada, our governor. Typically, he just kind of does whatever California does. In California, obviously, they're taking this problem seriously. Even though they're spiking in cases, they're pretty much going to probably clamp down as much as they can to preserve human life. And I'll make the argument, too, like, a furry convention is probably the best time you'll ever have in your entire life. You meet your people, you buy furry art, you have fun, but it's not worth... Yeah, it's not worth getting sick, and it's not worth getting someone else sick, and it's not worth getting their relatives sick, right? Because that's kind of how it works, Yeah. So I would, again, stress to people, like, definitely, like, if you can participate in conventions safely, where you're social distancing, you're washing your hands, you're masking up, follow guidelines, and also be gentle as well. In fact, I even looked at my old con book. I was cleaning up my apartment, and I saw the Further Confusion 2020 con book.
Oh, wow.
And all of these, it's like, the 2020 Midwest is Furfest. The theme is space adventure. Like, I looked at all of the events that were listed in this program, and I'm like, none of these happened. It was surreal, you know?
Oh yeah, 2020 was just, it was like a black hole for conventions.
Exactly.
They just all fell by the wayside.
Yeah, but the other thing is that in that vacuum, if you will, it is a little freaky, and it is kind of tough when some people just kind of don't get things done. But I know that I took the opportunity of like the downtime to really grow my business.
Oh yeah,
and to, this podcast wouldn't have started without the pandemic.
Oh, I know, and it's been like, that was the best thing from 2020 for me.
There you go. So I would encourage everybody out there, if you're waiting on some creative project because you don't have the time for it or whatever, like, again, no pressure on being creative during the lockdown, because we have to take care of ourselves, take care of our families, and it's stressful enough when the normal rhythms of your life are interrupted. But if you feel you can take the opportunity to try something new and safe from wherever you're at and explore a new creative project, why not? You'll have nothing to lose because you ain't gonna be doing anything.
I mean, it's true. I mean, my first probably 3 months of the pandemic, all I did was take care of my islanders on Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Right. Yeah, I guess there's a new DLC for Pokemon Snap coming out, I know. So there's a couple new courses on that. I for Animal Crossing, I'm not sure if they've updated the content on that in a while. But yeah, go check out your islands. Go pick some weeds and catch some new fish. The month just changed over. And again, keep in contact with all your buddies. Keep on Telegram, keep texting people. That's how I got through the past year and a half, and it's kind of how, if things get real bad again, that's how I'll make it through. So.
Yeah, of course. I mean, even though we can't be together in person all the time, that's the great thing about the internet, is there's so many ways to reach out and just be present with each other.
Absolutely.
So
and also virtual events as well.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, some of the great VR enhancements have happened during this pandemic.
Yeah, I know.
Furries took over VR.
Right. Well, I think I even saw a news article where it was like, furries are making VR worthwhile, which was a profound statement, right? Because I know that Second Life for a long time was the not necessarily like fully virtual reality headset thing, but it was the place where you'd go where you had your avatar, and then maybe people, again, the old lady Lux rambling on about the old internet. But there was a point in Second Life where you'd pay for cars within Second Life that were as expensive as real cars. Like it was definitely like right. It was definitely a thing, and VR is kind of becoming that. For me, I can. It's funny. I haven't picked up a VR headset because I know how addictive that can be.
It's super addictive. I got a Oculus Rift, and I tell you, I did not come out of that thing probably for 2 months after I got it.
Did you go to any virtual conventions with that thing? Or?
I did not. I kind of stayed away from the virtual conventions. I watched some clips from them.
Okay.
I don't know. For me, the virtual conventions weren't like a thing.
It's kind of the Coke Zero when you're used to that regular full sugar delicious like.
Oh yeah.
Fully. I mean, it's tough too, but at the same time, there's an argument that could be made that there's like this whole group of furry that just didn't have the money or the time, or they just didn't have the ability to even go to physical events, and now they kind of get to experience it.
Yeah, I think it's been great for like the people who are too shy to go to their first event. I think these VR conventions have really emboldened them to step their foot into the convention space.
Definitely. I mean, what I would love to see kind of moving forward is a concurrent thing, and I think that there's room for that, where you have people. It's tough because like if you had people in VR, they couldn't really do AR, but like I had this weird harebrained idea in my head where like you'd have your convention in a hotel, but then you have a bunch of segways with like iPads on them, and you could have people attend, and drive around. So I was thinking about this, and I'm like, what if you have limited mobility, right? Like what if you have this, or like no money, or you can't travel, or whatever? It would be so interesting to have like virtual, like at that point, augmented reality attendance or whatnot, and people could just kind of like cruise around and be like, and you have a mix of like physical and whatever interactions, because you've got those robot butlers too that you can get that have the screens on them. So those are really big in medicine right now, with doctors being able to travel to different hospitals and whatnot. So I mean, and there's so many tech people in furry. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. But again, you're talking to somebody who ran a convention in a hotel for like $150. So,
I think give it a couple of years, and especially with what happened this year, I think that you're going to start seeing some kind of really cool technological advances for conventions. The rise of Zoom and all these software as a service things have really kind of brought teleconferencing into like what we thought it was going to be back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. Well, I guess I have a question. So in your mind, if you close your eyes and you think of a kick-ass like furry convention of the future, I just mentioned my remote attendees. What's another piece of tech that you think would be really cool for in-person events in the future? Just go crazy, blue sky.
Well, I like the robot thing, like you said. I think like building on that is like maybe a furry hug simulator.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So that furs who are far away can hug their buddies at a convention. So I think that would be kind of a neat thing.
Yeah, or you could even have like 2 conventions happening at the same time, one in one country and one in another maybe, and you could have people at a conference and like hug each other in like a station or something. That'd be wild.
I think that would be so awesome.
Yeah, I'm optimistic for the future, and I hope that whatever shape we're in 2 weeks, like I'll listen back to this recording and be like, yes, there was hope. There was hope and light in Lux Operon. Who really knows, man? But I mean, ultimately, like, if there's one thing that I have learned about being an electronics person and kind of pushing the envelope of different materials and kind of whatever, the reason something doesn't happen is not that it's impossible. It's that that the right combination of bored and smart and money hasn't happened yet. You know, if this suggestion sparks the imagination of anybody else out there, you can mail the check to Lux Operon, area code. The royalties can be made out to me. Write the check even, you can mail it to me and write it out to cash. That would be wonderful. So.
We get a cut of that.
Well, okay. 60-40, how about 60-40?
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. Hey, Lux.
Yes.
We're kind of orbiting over your lab. I thought it might be fun to go down and kind of take a look at things.
Yeah.
I hear you converted the transformation power source to hamster wheel.
Well, actually, I'm glad you brought it up. The transformation ray, boy, it's not working quite right. And I know that you're a steampunk genius. I figure, can we get into some kind of pneumatic tube from up here in the airship down to my lab and then see if you can take a look at it?
I mean, I've got the cargo lift. We could just drop down on the cargo lift.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Yeah,
We'll hop on the cargo lift here. It's tough because like I know that like the electric toothbrush transformation, like now there's all kinds of weird music coming out of the interior of it, and there's like different rainbow smoke shooting out the back. I mean, it's tough because like apparently you're supposed to change the oil on these things every 30,000 miles, but I've only pushed it a couple of feet. But I think that on neopets.com they just never serviced the oil on it, and I brought in a mechanic. And he's taking me for a ride. I could kind of tell. He was like, your blinker fluid's low. And I'm like, well, I mean, I only rarely use the turn signals on it because, again, I don't really, like, rotate it that much. And also, I don't think that there's blinker fluid. But, I mean, again, I don't really know much about cars. He was a car mechanic. He's like, did you check the engine? I'm like, yeah, I opened up the hood and it was there. So, you know.
Well,
yeah.
Let's see what we can do with it.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're here. Oh, and did you want anything from the Taco Bell? By the way.
Ooh, yes. Doritos Locos.
Yeah, let me hold on. I'm gonna pick up the Taco Bell order phone that I have in here. It's actually shaped like Garfield. I'm gonna dial the numbers here. And hey, Earl. Earl, yeah. Yeah, no. Now, how's your grandma? She good? Okay. No, we need a couple. We need a Loco Taco and a Crunch Wrap a la Lux. Oh, to shreds, you say? Okay, just get them down here as soon as you can. All right, there's been... I won't go into it too far, but apparently there's something going on up there in the Taco Bell that's Futurama-esque, so don't worry about it. We're gonna... So, again, there's a food tube here. There's a pneumatic delivery device now.
Nice,
yeah, when you hear a zhunk and then like a bell that dings, your Taco Bell will be inside of this pneumatic tube, steamy and warm and hot. But let's...
There's nothing better than pneumatically served food.
Yeah, I mean, like DoorDash wishes they had this. Like, it's proprietary, honestly. Like, in fact, I'm going to hand you this non-disclosure agreement. You go ahead and sign this and agree that you're not going to be communicating to any food sharing applications about my pneumatic system. Because this is...
sure. I don't see why I can't sign this.
I was going to say, now, the patents haven't quite cleared on it yet. But yeah, okay, so here's the transformation ray. As you can see, the hamster wheel's kind of off-kilter here. There's also, like, I think it's because I took out the pull start gasoline motor. This is all jacked up. So I'm going to go over to the side of this thing and just start unplugging wires here.
What happened to the steam generators that I brought in?
Oh, yeah, so I chucked a flaming rat into the coal furnace, and then in his death throes, he crawled into something and broke the whole thing. That was why I had to install the hamster. If you could actually, like, I didn't even take the coal furnace out. As far as I know now, it's just like a rat cremation furnace.
Well, what we could do, I mean, I know you were concerned also about, the chimney sweep lung that Bearly nearly got.
Yeah, well, I just, again, with Bearly, I mean, I know he's got good health insurance through his work, but I don't want to fight. I'm already fighting Taebyn's HMO to get him untransformed. And it's like, man, I don't really get the bandwidth for that paperwork. I'm just a step in front of this thing and start plugging some wires here.
On the Blister, I've started using dragons for my flame source.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, a 100% renewable source of energy. All you got to do is feed them.
Okay, what do you feed the dragons?
Taco Bell, what else?
Oh wait, so do you feed them like Locos tacos or like the Diablo tacos, or?
It depends on how fast we want to go.
Oh really? Okay,
yes.
So what you're suggesting, do you know where I could find a good dragon? I'm just gonna kind of like move this nozzle here.
There's quite a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just look on Twitter. They're all over the place.
Are they on Twitter? Okay, because I figured that they shut down the personals section on Craigslist, so I probably couldn't find any dragons on there.
No.
Hey, could you do me a quick favor?
Yeah.
There should be, I'm a little nervous about standing in front of the transforming portion of the transformation ray. There's actually a safety switch up on the top if you climb up there. Just don't click it. Just rotate it clockwise, then touch the theremin, and then press the 3 buttons in chromatic order in the front. As long as you do that exactly, it won't go off on me as I'm messing up.
All right.
It up here.
Theremin.
So, theremin. Yep. There we go.
Clockwise, you said, right?
Clockwise first, then the theremin.
No.
No!
Oh my gosh. What have I done? What? Lux, are you okay?
I don't know. What happened?
I don't see
What am I?
Where? There's a sword on the floor, like a broadsword.
There's a sword on the floor.
Wait a minute. Is that you?
I'm on the floor.
Is that you?
Flip me over!
Oh my gosh.
Ah!
You're a broadsword.
Ah! Oh my god.
This is amazing.
Is it?
Well, yeah, for me, I've always wanted a broadsword.
Oh, well, that's great. I never wanted to be owned by somebody. Okay. Well, this was an unintended consequence of mad science. My goodness, I don't deserve this at all.
I'm wondering, are you one of those singing swords?
Maybe? Hold on, let me,
Because that would make you a lot more valuable.
Maybe it's better that I'm not a singing sword then. Because if I'm valuable, then you'll try to pawn me. But I can try. Okay. Sword songs. Let's buy a ticket to midnight. Rockin' heavy metal. Did that work? Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's not many swords that sing anyways. I mean... Well,
I imagine on that one, like, Forged in Flame or whatever weird reality TV show that they got the sword nerds on, they probably tried to make like a sword harmonica or something or other. But,
probably. Those guys are nuts.
I mean, I was gonna say, I'm a little sober to sing anyway, so I don't think you can get a sword drunk, but it's so weird. I've got like a little pommel down here.
And there's there's a beautiful jewel at the base there.
Oh, that's not too bad. I bet you could. Well, you probably shouldn't pop this out of me because we don't know what portion of my body this represents.
No,
but
probably
that looks genuine. That ain't.
It's really shiny.
Like a chasladoni or like an emerald or some sort. Yeah. Oh, there's something in there. Hold on.
Oh.
I'm peeking at it. Oh my God. It's not chasladoni. It's a piece of amber. There's a bug in here.
Oh wow.
That's weird. So it's like a Jurassic Park situation on my hill. Oh, I felt it move. Oh, that does not feel good. Oh God. Wow. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's stop paying attention to that. That's disturbing.
Yeah. That's kind of creepy.
Yeah, a little bit. So what does my blade look like? I can't see it.
It's very sharp and shiny.
Okay.
You look like you could really split some heads.
Oh geez. Do I have an inscription on me somewhere?
Yeah, but I'm not sure what this is. It kind of looks like Aramaic or something. I'm not sure.
Aramaic? Huh, go ahead and give it a little polish. See if you can read it.
Let me see if I can.
Okay. Woo! That tickles. What's that?
I just don't read this language, but it looks like some kind of. Geez, I can't quite make it out.
Let me search my sword of truth and see if. Oh, actually, wait. Hold it. Screw it. Hold me up to a mirror. See that mirror over there? Hold me up.
Sure.
And I'll see if I can. Oh, yeah.
Remember, it's backwards from you, so.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. The bug won't stop wiggling in me. But yeah, it says objects in the mirror may be closer than they appear.
I think that's printed on the bottom of the mirror.
Oh, is that at the bottom of it? Okay, don't.
Yes.
Let me look up at my blade. Okay, it says keep out of reach of children.
Oh, well, that's kind of a nice thing to have on a sword.
You know, it's a practical suggestion.
It
That's
is.
all right. Well, shoot. I mean, I'm a sword. I wonder if there's anything around here that you could cut. Don't those cold steel guys usually like chop up like pig carcasses and whatnot, like on the videos? I don't have any meat around here, but
there's that pepperoni stick that was left over from the Pizza Hut.
there is that pepperoni. Well, I suppose you could hang it up. I don't know how much weight you get, but you could try to chop that pepperoni with me.
Well, let's give it a shot.
All right, let's do it.
All right,
I'll
you ready?
I'll do my best like Xena impression. Woo, baby! Oh, that was fun. Clean through that freaking pepperoni.
Wow.
Good
Wow,
Lord.
it's like perfectly sliced.
Good Lord, I am a killing machine. That's amazing. Wait, you should go try to attack the elephant skeleton that's over in the corner.
All right, ready?
All right, ready? All right.
1, 2.
Oh God! Oh, the skeleton is now just on the floor in a pile.
Oh.
Should have thought that through before we
Yeah,
attacked.
I'll help you. I'll help you
Elephant
put it back
skeleton.
together later.
You know, I mean, it's more. I wonder if it's more sellable, honestly, now that it's in pieces. I really need to get rid of it. It's not. It's blocking several fire exits, so probably good that we chopped it apart.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Interesting. Yeah. So. You know what? I wonder. I do wonder. Because I think I'm a magic sword if I've got the little piece of amber in
Ooh,
me.
yeah.
You know what? Maybe I can cause my wielder to transform if he shouts the magic word. What do you think?
Maybe we could try it.
Yeah. Why don't you He-Man / Thundercats me and let's see if anything happens.
I have the Thundercats.
Ah! Nothing.
That didn't
Nothing.
do anything.
No. Try something else.
Shazam!
Nothing. You know what? Maybe keep out of reach of children might be my activation phrase. Can you try that?
Let's try it.
Okay.
Keep out of reach of children!
Oh my gosh! Look at that armor you're wearing! Holy crap! We can fight crime now!
I feel so buff. Oh!
You are so buff! My goodness! Look at that little like loincloth you're wearing. And there's a motorcycle behind you shaped like a drag. Dude, this rules. All right.
This is awesome.
Oh my god.
Are you sure you want me to transform you back?
You know, I'm hesitating about it, but at the same time, we do have a podcast to make. I mean, that is a righteous
yeah.
dragon motorcycle, and I am a cool
It
sword,
is.
and you are a cool dude, and I feel like this could be an entirely separate podcast. We could just go for hours on magical, like, dragon bike talking sword adventures, but you know what? We owe it to our listeners to be boring, so
Yeah,
let's...
I guess so.
Why don't you go? You know what? Here's the thing. I wonder if the motorcycle will remain.
Hold on, I want to flex a little bit more.
Oh, look at that. Oh, muscle man, Hercules. Oh, man, dude, Bearly and Taebyn are really missing out, aren't they? My
Yeah,
goodness.
it's their fault.
No. All right, well, maybe. I still don't know what we did to them to take over the podcast.
Well, yeah,
but
they haven't appreciated us enough and let us be
You
on
know
the
what?
podcast enough.
That's right. You know, hold on. Before we transfer back, why don't we take a couple of pictures for Instagram, and then
yeah,
you can
yeah.
toss me in front of the ray, okay?
Okay.
All right.
All right. I'm gonna do the overhead
All right.
pose.
Beautiful.
Here
Woo!
with you overhead.
I'm up here, and I'm. You can't see it, but I'm giving you bunny ears.
Oh, nice.
Oh man, I really hope the
All right.
motorcycle sticks around.
Oh, I do too.
I don't know how this. I mean, because you've transformed and I've transformed, so I have no idea how this is gonna pan out with the untransforming.
I'm not sure either. I mean, I don't even know what setting we put the thing on.
Well, here's the thing. So I wonder if you fire it up and then both you and I quick jump in front of the laser. Hopefully it won't fly us. It'll just transform both of us back. How does that sound?
We could try that.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm gonna unplug your Heisenberg compensator.
Oh, okay.
Because,
okay.
yeah, we definitely need to do that because they do that on every episode of Star Trek.
Right. And go ahead and remove the head from the dragon bike and put it into the MacGuffin slot on the
Okay.
on the transformation.
Got it.
There we go.
Got it.
Yeah, and then
There you go.
and go ahead and turn it from Chekhov's gun to reverse Chekhov, and then we should be all right.
Okay. All right. Well, let's. You ready? I'm gonna.
Okay.
I'm gonna start the
Yeah,
sequence.
just put it on the timer, and then we'll hop in front of it.
Yeah. All right. Let's go. Let's
Okay.
go.
Okay. And
Ready?
wait, 3,
I'm gonna
2,
close my
1.
eyes.
Woo!
Are we back?
Oh, there's a lot of steam, and I don't have any hair anymore, but we're back.
Oh, I'm sorry about the hair.
You know what?
Well, you know.
I was gonna say, I think I can pull this off.
Okay. Well,
I look fine.
Yeah.
And, oh my god. You're not gonna believe this. The motorcycle is still here.
Nice.
Check it out!
Want to go for a ride?
Yes! Let's ride this motorcycle back to your airship. Somehow.
All right.
Woo! Woohoo!
Well, Lux, that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed playing around in the lab, and
Yeah!
I hope that that's fixed now. I mean, we've got the steam generators back online. All you have to do is hire a
Right.
dragon
Mhm.
every other week. I mean, they don't
Yeah.
cost much to feed.
You know, I there might be like a dragon sharing app, like Dragger, that I could sign up for and just
Yeah,
have
probably,
one,
but
show up.
yeah,
So.
I mean, they make the best flames anywhere.
Right, and also I could probably like multitask and also toast some marshmallows back there while we're running the Ray.
Exactly. All right, so I hear that you have a segment you want to do called Better Know a Species.
Absolutely. Here's the theme song. Better know a species. Aren't you sick of all the canines? Better know a species. Here's something else you can have a character of. Okay, I need to workshop it. But yeah, so everyone likes to say, oh man, the furry fandom, there needs to be more. Meh, meh, meh. Okay, well, great. Here's the catalyst for that. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to tell you about a species of animal that I think would make a really, really cool character or a persona or whatever. And today, I'm going to be talking about the pangolin.
Penguin?
No, not a penguin, a pangolin. It's like a little pine cone critter. Now, do you
pangolin.
know what a pangolin is?
I think so. They're kind of little armored kind of creatures, aren't they? Similar to like an armadillo?
Yeah, they're like a pine cone armadillo almost. They are a fairly older species of mammal. Little armored plates on them. And I got some fun facts about the pangolin to maybe get the juices stirring in some of our viewers. So, first of all, the word pangolin means roller. It comes from the word pangolung, which is the Malay word for roller. And the pangolin will roll into a little ball to defend itself. And they are insectivorous, so they're kind of like anteaters. They eat ants and different bugs, and they stick their noses into places. There are 8 species of pangolin. So there's 4 found in Africa, and there's actually 4 found in Asia. So there's different little species there. They are pretty much every type of pangolin is threatened.
Oh.
Weirdly enough, a lot of their bits and bobs can be used in the black market and whatnot for medicine. So they are endangered. And sadly enough, pangolins are actually the most trafficked mammals in the world.
Oh no.
Like to the point where, yeah, it's kind of sad. But their numbers are doing way better than they used to.
Well, that's good.
There's actually some gentlemen, the pangolin watchers, or I forget what their names are, but they're a group of African gentlemen, and they rescue pangolins and raise them. They did a photo shoot a while ago, and it's quite good. It's very handsome and beautiful African people holding onto pangolins in very well shot photos, and it's just a good boost of serotonin. So
nice.
Yeah, and they are pretty much, so if you have kind of the energy of, I would say, like maybe a possum or a weasel or something like that, but you're looking for something a little bit different, like I think that a pangolin would be an excellent character, like a fantasy setting, because they kind of look at, they have scale mail on, so maybe having a pangolin knight. A pangolin would also be a handy character if you're thinking about somebody who's maybe like maybe dystopian, like road warrior or something. Their temperament, they're very sweet and easy to get along with, so if that's kind of your vibe and you like to climb trees and eat bugs and just kind of hang out, I think you could do worse than a pangolin. So this is my call to the universe. If you were looking for a sign to develop a new character, there's tons of opportunities for designing them, maybe different scales or different colors or whatever, or even make a pangolin hybrid, make a pangolin and a kangaroo, make a pangaloo or something, So absolutely go out, check out some videos of pangolins and see if that doesn't get your creative juices flowing.
Nice. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right. That moves us along to con stories.
Yeah. Oh, convention stories.
So I hear you have a very interesting convention story about somebody
I do.
in your bathtub.
Yeah, so furry conventions are definitely their own animal, and one of the time-honored traditions of any furry convention is getting a room designed for 4 people and stacking 20 people in it as if it is the steerage of the Titanic.
Right.
Like, because furry conventions can be expensive, right? But like, the whole weekend bill divided by 20 ain't gonna be that much money, and it beats sleeping in the lobby,
True.
which I've known some people to do. But the converse of that is, if you don't know all 20 people just kind of come and go out of your room, and you're not really like in control or whatever. And weirdly enough, a way that I used to actually save money was sleeping in bathtubs. I would even, like back when I was, seriously, when I was super broke, I would offer people, I wouldn't pay the full amount for a room share, but I'd be like, hey, I'll give you an extra like $25 a night and I'll just crash in your tub. And no one ever followed the E621 rule, so I just got to sleep in the tub and dry it out. And it was fine, very comfortable, depending on the hotel. Like I think the Airport Hyatt for a Midwest Fur Fest probably had the comfiest bathtubs I think I've ever slept in. But
Nice.
the thing though, is that I was not the only person who did this hack. And there was one year where I forget whether this was Anthro, Ohio, or where it was. It was some Midwestern convention. And I had a pretty rough go of it. Slow sales, pretty busy. My booth friend bugged out on me, so I was just exhausted by the end of the night. And I wasn't going any dancers. I think I just wanted to go to bed. And I always take a shower before I go to bed because it's hygiene, right? Like a thing I normally do. And I go into my room, and there was already kind of like a party or some kind of situation here. And I had told everybody, like, I'm working this convention, so y'all can't party in here. So I asked them all to politely leave. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then the kids who were, drinking in my room, they're like, oh, we'll go somewhere else. They leave. And I'm getting ready to do my nightly hygiene. And I go into the bathroom and I pull back the curtain, and there is a gentleman in his birthday suit and a pup hood just lying in the bathtub, clearly on something, writhing around. And I'm like, excuse me? Like, you need to go. Your friends are gone. And he goes, I need to be touched. And I turned on the shower, the cold shower, right on him. I'm like, get out, like out. And so he's like, I don't know where my clothes are. I'm like, not my problem. Here's a robe, leave. So there was this poor guy soaking wet in a pup hood and a terry cloth bathrobe just wandering around this hotel. And I think we ended up paying like maybe $60 because like he never came back with the robe, honestly. But you know what? It was worth it for the story. So suffice to say, if you the lesson of the story is, if you want to save some cash and you want a weird convention hack, just offer somebody like $20 a night to sleep in their bathtub, and also don't get naked and do drugs while you're sleeping in the bathtub.
Probably wise counsel right there.
You got any stories from you?
I mean, nothing that can top that. I mean, I've only been I've only been to one convention. I've only been to one convention, so.
Well, were you at other cons besides?
Oh yes. So I've also done lots of Comic-Cons.
Okay.
Where I've dressed up as everything from the Fourth Doctor from Doctor Who to
nice
O'Neill from Stargate.
Okay. Did you have any Comic-Con convention stories?
Yeah. I mean, meeting some of the people I've met at Comic-Con are quite hilarious.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So John Barrowman, who you might know as Captain Jack from Doctor Who.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
He kind of surprised us all when he came out in a like a full-on sequins ball gown.
Oh.
Or evening dress.
I bet he was stunning.
It was.
I bet he was stunning.
Gorgeous. And let me tell you. Oh my gosh, he has legs that go on for days.
Right,
I mean,
right. Legendary, all legs, no dairy.
Oh my, yes. Well, there's some dairy. There's some derriere.
Is there some dairy?
Let me tell you.
I see. He's a little cheese with that burger.
Yes,
huh?
he's definitely. Yeah, we were all definitely a little bit shocked and surprised and.
Right, like something warm.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Like
yes.
It's like when you see a hero of yours dress and drag, it is it's kind of like taking second.
Oh yeah,
like,
you're like,
what?
Huh?
I didn't know that was possible.
Yeah, it was quite fun.
Fantastic.
And then there was also the time when we were at one of the conventions in Portland, Rose City Comic-Con, and we were dressed as Jedis, and yeah, Tom Welling touched my husband's lightsaber. Really. He couldn't keep his hands off of it.
All right. Was he using the Force, or was he submitting to the power of the dark side? you should have shouted as Anakin, I have the higher ground. Like you've lost.
I tell you, my husband
right?
was more than willing to let Superman fondle his lightsaber.
I mean, I think I've read that fan fiction before involving your husband. Actually.
Oh no.
So
I have got to get that stuff off the internet.
I mean, the Randiverse is a rich and interesting. Since I gotta get you. I mean, like DashCon was absolutely a thing, so of course there's a Randiverse,
of course.
right? So tell your hubby to clean up his Wikipedia. It's a steaming pile of garbage right now. So.
Oh my gosh.
All right. What we got left on here?
So after con stories, furries in steampunk. So
Furries and steampunk.
Myself being a steampunk raccoon, I kind of wanted to mention the fact that it seems like the steampunk community is very accepting of furries.
Yeah.
If you look at videos on the internet of steampunk conventions, you're going to notice at least one or two furries. In fact, I challenge you to watch a few steampunk convention videos and not spot at least one furry in every video. It's almost impossible not to do. We seem to have, kind of a symbiotic relationship with the steampunk people. And so like when I got my fursuit, the first place I was able to go publicly fursuit was the steampunk ball here in Salem.
Nice.
It was fantastic. I was treated like royalty there. I got like almost more costume keys than anybody because they were handing out keys for people to judge your costume. So the more keys you had at the end of the night, the better your costume was. And I got the second most amount of keys that night.
That's
so
awesome.
yes, I was very pleased with that. I got to dance with a beautiful girl. She just like came and grabbed me and dragged me onto the dance floor. And I'm not really a dancer, but I flailed around a little bit and just had a good time.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and I have to say, like, the steampunk community is really, really a bunch of sweet people.
Yeah, it's interesting. As far as my experience with steampunk, because it was a major part of my life for about 3 years or so. Out in the Midwest, in Michigan specifically, it blossomed from the Renaissance Fair.
Oh yeah.
And there are many parallels between the Renaissance Fair circuit and the furry circuit, except that the Renaissance Fair, it's definitely a fandom, even though no one calls it that. You have your artisans, you have whatever, and there's a lot of parallels, but you don't necessarily have the tradition of illustration with Renaissance fairs. And also, typically, they're more open and advertised to the public. Right. So you'll have your guy in like the Tybee Island t-shirt and flip-flops walking next to a dude in full plate armor. So it's kind of wild. But what's wonderful about a Renaissance fair is the idea of role-playing and cosplaying and that kind of thing within that space. And it's definitely got the same furry energy. You have people who travel the circuit around the U.S., or at least they did in the before times. You have these really talented artisans, like these old hippies who could like carve a bowl. And it's like, man, I don't think I'm ever in my life going to know how to carve a bowl.
You'd have to be really hungry to get me to carve a bowl for some cereal.
Exactly.
I'll just eat it out of the box.
The big fad, right? Yeah, right. The big fad before steampunk was actually pirates. Back in Pirates of the Caribbean really kicked off this thing where everybody had their pirate costume, their pirate sona and all that. My father's actually a huge Rennie, so I know a bit about
we've
this.
got some pirate furries too. Captain Boone's.
Yes.
He's been on the podcast. He's very piratey and likes to throw sharp things.
Yeah, and the one fun thing about steampunk too, that's a big parallel with steampunk and furry, is that people insist there are rules, but there are none.
Right.
There's a general kind of aesthetic of like, yeah, maybe stick to like browns and copper tones, and maybe have cogs kind of wherever. But it is definitely a wide enough, loose enough thing where you can kind of do whatever you want. And another nice thing too is that the jerks typically don't show up to steampunk events, much like jerks kind of usually don't show up to furry events,
I kind of noticed that.
There's discourse, there's discourse online about we should define steampunk as one thing. Even to this day, they're talking about it. Bobbins, who runs TeslaCon out in Wisconsin, had a steampunk summit where they were supposed to vote on what steampunk was, and the whole thing kind of imploded because it's like, nah, man, don't slip a saddle on this beautiful wild stallion. Let it run free,
That's what I love about it. Is it's very much like the furry fandom where your character is created by you.
Yes.
Unlike other fandoms where you pretend to be somebody, that was created by somebody else. that's part of some larger canon. With with the steampunk and furry communities, you create the character. You're the character. I mean, it's your baby, and you can say how you want it to be. I love that about the furry and steampunk communities.
Yeah, and if there's one thing I will forever be grateful for steampunk for, is it really, like, it was my first real taste of making and costuming and cosplay, and it really taught me this sense of, like, nah, man, like, I'm an overweight lady, but I look great in a dress. I'm someone who can make these fantastic things. And without steampunk, there would not have been Studio Lux Operon. And without Studio Lux Operon, I would have never discovered Furry. So there's a direct line that leads from those things. But I will close on this, which is kind of cute, to blend back in the Renaissance Fair thing. There was a long time when I'm like, I'm not a furry. I was like the crappiest, weirdest, most toxic person. But my first costume actually was a Renaissance Fair costume. When my father remarried my stepmother, back when I was, I want to say like 17, 18, when they did that, every step parent will give you a dowry if you're over the age of, like, whatever, right? They'll buy you that one expensive thing to, like, win your love forever. And for my stepmother, it was a dragon costume. There was a youth theater. Seriously, there was a youth theater. They had done a production of The Hobbit, and there was a Smaug the Dragon costume that they were selling at the end of the season to raise money for the next season. And I was just like, I wanted that costume so bad. My stepmom's like, dude, screw it, take it. And for like a few seasons at the Renaissance Fair, it was like a crappy latex mask and kind of janky or whatever. But I had so much fun performing and being the dragon, quote unquote, at the Ren Fair. So when that costume finally fell apart, that's again what led to her like helping me buy a few like steampunk things, and then it just got completely out of hand, But I look back at that dragon thing now, and what's kind of beautiful and synchronous about it is I've just picked up a mask pattern for a leather dragon mask that I'm going to put EL on. Ooh. So it feels like a nice like cyclical thing. I didn't leave steampunk in a good place. It was like a big blowout with my friends, and kind of re-entering that from like the Renaissance Fair like trajectory is helping me reimagine what my relationship is with the aesthetic, and I am so excited to get this done and share it with everybody on like TikTok and social media and all that.
Awesome.
So,
we'll be looking for
onward
that.
and upward,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, totally.
I can't wait to see it. Lux, let's talk about furry niche movies.
Yes, absolutely. Before there was the fandom, before there were conventions, there were a lot of movies about talking animals.
Oh,
man.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, many people, maybe people don't quite realize this, that the young furries of these days don't appreciate the forefather. So basically, like, you can view furry as something that came out of American cinematic and television traditions of like silly animals and all that. But there was a point in animation where people were really challenging things and starting to make like more adult films and more mature storylines, if you will. And that is almost more the heart of furry. The people who were enthusiastic about an adult story portrayed by kind of cutesy wootsy characters and whatnot. It didn't necessarily resonate with the entire American public, but a few of us who it did really like jam with, those people did gather together. They'd watch Animal Olympics in like a hotel room every year, and lo and behold, the first furry conventions came out. So it's definitely worthwhile to talk about some furry films that maybe our younger listeners have maybe heard of, but maybe haven't like given themselves a chance to see.
Yeah. Definitely.
So, yeah. And the film that I want to talk to everybody today is The Secret of Nim.
Ooh.
So, Rayne, are you familiar with The Secret of Nim?
I am. I actually saw that movie in the drive-in when I was a kid.
I dare I ask, Rayne, how old you were when you snuck into the drive-in theater?
I don't remember, but my mom and dad took me because I begged my mom for weeks because I remember seeing the advertisements for it on TV, and I had to see it. I just had to see it.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. So Secret of Nim was released in the summer of 1982, and it was at a time actually.
Gosh, I would have been like 10.
Yeah. I was not a twinkle in my old man's eye in 82. I was born in 87. So what's interesting is that this time was actually kind of a dark period for the titan of the animation movie industry. Disney. These were known as like the Black Plague, like medieval muddy times of Disney. They were not really producing like as good of films. This is Fox and the Hound and the Black Cauldron years. when this was produced. And so what's interesting is that Secret of Nim it's a Don Bluth, situation.
Love Don Bluth.
Yeah, and it was also made by a bunch of other former Disney animators who were kind of fed up with Disney's bureaucracy and assembly line attitude. They're like, Disney's not really like, for them it was a technical thing that Disney was neglecting animation skills, and they also weren't really telling interesting stories anymore, so they wanted to work out their own stories. So The Secret of Nim was a children's book about, and it still is a children's book, you could go out and grab it, and it's the story of this mother mouse, and she kind of goes on this adventure. Her home is going to be uprooted. She's got a sick son, and she needs to plead the help from these ultra intelligent rats who are known to carry the Secret of Nim, and Nim actually stands for National Institutes of Mental Health. The idea was that these rats had been experimented on and became hyper intelligent, and they could help her move her house. And it's a really interesting story with magic and all these other things inside of it. And it's a very satisfying, interesting, dark, complex kind of film. So I absolutely recommend if you have access to it. I know it's on Amazon Prime, might be on Netflix. I'm not sure you can track it down. But some other interesting facts about it. So Miss Frisbee is the protagonist, and they were trying to get merchandising rights to sell toys, right? That's how you make your bread and butter back in the day. Yeah. So interesting enough, they changed her name to Miss Brisby to avoid copyright issues with the Frisbee toy.
Okay.
So, and the movie only tells you once what NIM means, again, the National Institute of Mental Health. And so, let's see here. Also, so there's, let's see, right, and then apparently the same hands that drew the Xanadu animated sequence of that music video, same people worked on Xanadu. None of the kids are going to get that reference, but that's totally
I barely
fine.
remember it.
Right, exactly. And then Dom DeLuise turned Jeremy the Crow from a minor to a character to a major character. So Dom DeLuise voiced the Crow.
I remember that, yes.
In this movie. And the Crow was kind of, he had more of a, he wasn't really that big of a character in the books, but he had such a profound performance as Jeremy the Crow, they made him into more of a principal character. And the other thing that's interesting is that studio politics definitely probably doomed it. Apparently the film kind of had a troubled release through United Artists. There were, again, United Artists and MGM do not exist anymore, but this movie, like many animated films that are outside of Disney, came out on a wing and a prayer. I believe it made its money back at the box office, but not that much more, and kind of killed people's confidence in this style of movie for quite some time. The last bit of tidbit I will give you is John Carradine was hired to lend his voice to the Wise Owl. So and the Wise Owl is a terrifying character in this movie, a being, almost like a Cthulian being of unimaginable power, which an owl would be to a mouse.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And apparently, so this gentleman was 75 years old when he was doing the voice acting for this, and he apparently was suffering from very debilitating arthritis. So, and also apparently he was an alcoholic. So he would go into the vocal booth sessions and try and deliver his powerful lines while on both painkillers and lunch martinis. And I guess, and so apparently he'd come in and would be nodding off in the booth and stuff. So the directors have to snap him out of it or whatever. But apparently, and now I'm quoting directly, so he probably had a late martini lunch. Gold, Bluth, and their cohorts used coffee and conversation to get Carradine sharp again. Once he was sober, he recorded his lines. Then he himself declared each delivery to be the best performance he had in him, and he wouldn't do retakes or alternate versions, and then left. So good thing he gave a great performance, Goldman said. So if this has piqued your interest, I would very much hope that you guys go out and give Secret of Nim a watch. It has a happy ending, so don't worry, but it is in essence a children's movie. There are some darker portions, kind of got a Land Before Time vibe to it, so it might not necessarily be appropriate for sensitive children or whatnot, but if you got nothing better to do on a night, absolutely sit down and give it a watch. It is a great film.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I remember just being in awe of it. It's because it was Don Bluth.
Yeah. I mean, and Bluth had some bangers too. You know, their Fievel Goes West. Troll in Central Park was okay. One of the nicher movies. Was Bluth involved in Land Before Time?
I think so.
I can't remember if he was. That feels Bluthy. Thumbelina, he worked on a little bit. And then there was also, I do not know, Brave Little Toaster has Don Bluth energy energy, but I don't know if Don Bluth had his finger in that pie. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
There are many animated films from you and I. Yeah, there's many animated films from you and I's childhood about a group of friends that are lost and scared for like 80% of the movie.
Yeah, I mean that was
so that was
animated and non-animated. I mean, one of my favorites growing up was the Goonies.
The Goonies,
again,
yeah,
a group of friends scared, lost together.
Right, scared, lost, yeah. And then Homeward Bound, you know, same vibe, right? Milo and Otis, same. Right. Pretty much every childhood movie, and now that I'm thinking about it, has a group of kids that are kind of lost and scared for a while, and then they find their way home.
And everything always works out right at the end.
Oh yeah, the Goonies has an insane wrap up. They basically just line up everything and boom, this is solved. Boom, this is solved. There's no dangling threads in the Goonies. Absolutely fantastic. So that Goonies, the ultimate furry movie. Watch the Goonies. Not really,
but yes, I mean it's the ultimate Oregon movie because it was all filmed up here. So
yeah, absolutely. It is. There's a few portions of it that haven't aged well, but as long as you view it within the context of the era that it was produced, it's still a very fun and
definitely
film,
definitely
so, absolutely. So Goonies and Secret of Nim, you got your homework there. Barely heads. What are the fans called the show?
I don't like
Barely's Taebynites. Tape heads, bear heads, Furcastorators.
Oh no, not that.
Oh no. Let's move on to bad jokes. How about?
Yeah,
that's our son to move on to bad jokes.
On that note, let's move on to some bad jokes. So Lux, do you have some bad jokes for me? I've got some for you.
The bad joke is my further involvement in this podcast after that last comment. But let's see. Okay, right. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, I've got some bad jokes in the chute. Let's do a few, and then we will go ahead and hand this podcast over to those that the viewers are expecting. Yeah. So you got some bad jokes?
I do.
Too?
I have quite a few.
All right. Okay, you want to do rock paper scissors? See who goes first.
Ready? One.
Okay, on shoot.
One,
okay,
paper,
rock,
scissors,
paper,
shoot.
scissors, shoot.
Aha!
What you got? You're holding your hand out of the can. All right. Go ahead. You tell the first joke.
So I know a guy who occasionally sells me a gun or two. Everyone calls him T-Rex because he's a small arms dealer.
I got some real stinkers tonight. Did you hear about the Italian chef who died?
I did not.
He passed away.
So sad. So sad. So no matter how much you push the envelope, it'll still be stationary.
Absolutely. You know, I sold my vacuum the other day.
Yeah?
You know why?
No, why?
All it was doing was collecting dust.
I once knew a dog who could do magic tricks. He was a labracadabrador.
Labracadabrador. Oh, that is a powerful pun. All right. This is a dumb joke. What's the difference between a rabbit and a plum?
I don't know. What is the difference between a rabbit and a plum?
Well, they're both purple except for the rabbit. Who came up with that one?
I don't know.
Oh my god. Okay, great. Gee, I'm mad at that one. Good lord.
I removed the shell from my racing snail to make it go faster,
okay,
but it just made it a little bit more sluggish.
Oh, man. Oofa doofa. Oh, this one's good. Hey, Rayne, what's red and bad for your teeth?
I don't know. What's red and bad for your teeth?
A brick.
That
was pretty good, actually.
That's pretty good. Very true. My grandpa has the heart of a lion and a lifetime ban from the zoo.
Mm-hmm. Boo! Boo! All right. I got a real bad one here. What do you call an alligator in a vest?
Oh, that's an investigator.
Ah, you got it! Any more in the chute?
Yeah, it's hard to explain puns to kleptomaniacs because they always take things literally.
Pishu pashu poo. All right. This one's good. Why don't dinosaurs talk?
I don't know. Why don't dinosaurs talk?
Because they're dead.
Oh.
I mean, right? Whew, there's some dark ones
That
in
is
there.
pretty
Ding dong.
bad. So here's
Right?
my last one.
Okay.
So did you hear about the cheese factory that exploded in France?
No, I didn't.
There was nothing left but debris.
Okay. I will end on a spiritual
Ooh, okay.
joke. All right? And that is, what did the Buddha say to the hot dog vendor?
Make me one with everything.
Hey!
I'm Buddhist, so I know that joke. There's not
Fantastic.
very many Buddhist jokes.
Right. Nah, the Buddhists, they got one joke other than just like life is an illusion and that whole spiel. So fantastic. Well, I think that the turkey timer done did popped on this recording, so we should probably fork things back over.
The transmitter is looking almost red hot at this point. We should
shoot.
probably cut it off before it explodes.
Well, hold on. Can we keep it going for another second before my hot pocket finishes cooking? Can I just there we go.
It might be frozen in the middle though, because they always are for some reason.
I mean, it's you know what? I have a hot pocket in your steampunk balloon, and we have a righteous dragon motorcycle. Right? What else did we do today? We learned about pangolins. Yeah. I told a weird convention story. You mentioned the Australian furry representation, which was fantastic. My goodness, this was a barrel of fun, man. Next time that you feel like stealing this podcast, man, you got my number.
Awesome.
1-800 call Lux Operon to replace two hosts of the podcast. You have to dial every single word, otherwise you will not reach me.
Okay, hold on. Let me write this down.
1-800. All right. Let's fork it back on over, huh?
So thank you to everybody for listening. Sorry we hijacked the podcast, Bearly and Taebyn, but
I mean, sorry, not sorry.
Yeah. We had a good time, anyways.
We
sorry
did,
you
we
guys, went through the whole business of recording a podcast this week, and it's not going to air now. So, thank you to everybody for listening to us. We love you all, and
hugs and kisses.
Hugs and kisses. And we'll see you hopefully soon.
All right,
bye-bye.
Bye.
Barely Furcasting is an Injured Nerves studio production and is found on all major podcast platforms or can be heard directly at barelyfurcasting.com. The opinions expressed here are those of the hosts and their guests, and no commercial compensation was granted. The Furcast is produced, recorded, and directed by
Rayne Raccoon
and is edited by myself and our associate editors, Rayne Raccoon and Bixby Wolf. Opening and closing theme music, as well as some interstitial music, was created for Injured Nerves Productions for the use on the podcast by our music associate, Reg Day, with Damian Tanuki. If you would like to hear more music by Reg Day, you can search for Tweezerbeak on Bandcamp or Hoop Loop Tunes on SoundCloud. Other interstitial and background music by Shane Ivers through silvermansound.com, Gator Tots on soundcloud.com, and the YouTube Free Use Library. You can send us a message via email at barelyfurcasting@gmail.com or on our Telegram chat at BFFTchat, on Twitter, on our Facebook page, or on the barelyfurcasting.com webpage. The show is supported through donations at ko-fi.com/barelyfurcasting or through Patreon at patreon.com/barelyfurcasting. Thanks for listening. We hope you come back and listen next week.